Welcome to our show again on the Friday.
Yes.
Right. So
what a week this was. What a week this was. We saw, of course, the Dominion lawsuit settle with Fox News. We heard that Joe Biden is definitely going to run for re-election. He's going to announce Tuesday of this week. And of course, we are still looking out for the settlement into the debt ceiling and what's going to happen there.
I'd like to start with the president's election campaign, right? He's going to announce on Tuesday. Tell us about that. What do we know about it right now?
There's one driving force to President Biden running for president and for re-election, and that is that he felt that former President Trump was a danger to democracy and to this country. And so he wanted to be sure that he could stand up to what he thought was an imminent danger. One of the things that President Biden has felt very strongly is that, and I actually would agree with this, although I'm not the president, that one has to look for the middle. Has to look for, if you just look for the wings, you're not going to be able to win the presidency. And so President Biden has been a moderate Democrat. He's prided himself on his relationship with various Republican senators and congressmen and lawmakers. And so he wanted to be sure that he felt that that was the key for Democrats to win the White House in 2020, and that's what he believes is necessary for Democrats to win in 2024.
When he announces his campaign, re-election campaign on Tuesday, what do you think, what is going to be his platform this time?
To complete what he's tried to get done. Fact is that he has reduced childhood poverty by over 50%. He has made very big inroads also overseas with our alliances with NATO. He's also been very strong about trying to figure out how we can govern. He has said often that democracy works, and let me prove it to you, because many people feel that democracy is an antiquated system, that it's broken, and what he's showing is no, we have to negotiate, we have to show that there is a way to do this. That's his message.
And do you think he has, in the last 2.5 years, he has shown that democracy works in this country?
Yes, I think
it has worked for 200 years.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
No, I think he did. I think he's shown that. I mean, he's gotten over 200 pieces of legislation signed in a very narrow Congress. He's done that. He got the largest infrastructure bill passed in over a generation. He has worked on the CHIPS Act to bring back manufacturing and high technology back to the United States, which is not just good for jobs, which it is, but also good for America's defenses, for our preparedness. So this has been a very important set of packages that President Biden can run on and said, look what I've done for you. And his biggest bugaboo, the thing that he's really worried most about, is the negative effects from inflation and also the Fed's response, which has been to raise interest rates to lessen inflation. But it looks like that's even working. We see overseas that inflation is still soaring, especially in the UK and in Europe, and it has been coming down here in the United States.
I think under President Biden's leadership has stopped the decline of the United States, right?
Yes.
Both in the economy front, international front, military front, and domestically as well. Democrats is working now and thriving now, right? It's laying the ground for the next stage of America's development through CHIPS Act, you have said, and other reforms, the infrastructure bill that has brought in through all these things, right? Let's go to the other point about the lawsuit that we're talking about.
That was one of the largest, it may be the largest defamation lawsuit in world history. And it's very difficult to prove defamation because one has to prove intent. And Fox News' go-to has been, hey, look, we're a news organization and we are just revealing what the President of the United States says. We're just revamping that. However, there were fact checkers that were looking into whether or not there was any truth to what former President Trump claimed. There was no truth to it. I was here at the White House. That I was on pool on election night when Trump said, frankly, I did win this election after Fox called that Arizona was won by then candidate Biden. And even then it seemed foolish. And now it seems even more foolish after we saw the documents, the reams of documents that have been released to the public due to discovery, looking at what we need to, what Fox behind the scenes was actually saying. From Rupert Murdoch saying, we're going to lose our audience. We're going to lose our Trump voters if we don't hone the line, to even some hosts such as Tucker Carlson saying how much they disliked former President Trump. So there was a disconnect between what the Fox was airing publicly and what they were saying privately, and the Dominion lawsuit definitively proved that. Now, Fox itself has not aired any of this to their dupes or their viewers or whomever you want to call them. However, there is another lawsuit, which is from Smartmatic, that's coming along. They're not seeking $1.6 billion, but $2.7 billion. And they say they will not settle. They want it revealed exactly. Welcome to the White House. This is what happens. We have all this noise.
Right.
Yeah. They want to show that exactly what Fox was saying inside and what they were doing outside. They want to pull Rupert Murdoch onto the stand and humiliate him.
Whatever the result of the lawsuit, the core thing is the most important part is this country has core value of principles of freedom of expression, and this is why this country is thriving so far, right?
Right.
Compared to other countries, right? What is the third issue what we're talking about this week?
The third issue that we're going to talk about is what's looming as a shadow over all of Washington, D.C., and that is the looming debt ceiling. And the fact is that Republicans have not come to the table with a clean debt ceiling resolution. Republican House members have not come to President Biden with a clean debt ceiling.
Why U.S. One question, one thing. U.S. has never defaulted on a debt ceiling.
Right.
But why this is so important? Why the U.S. economists are so nervous, and the global economy is also on topsy-turvy if the U.S. defaults? What is the reason for this?
It would be a disaster beyond measure. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned of really almost doom if this were to happen, because of course, I mean, the oil is priced by the dollar. Everything revolves around the dollar. Why? Because the dollar is deemed to be the most creditworthy and dependable currency in the world. Now, if the United States were to default on its debt, that would throw American leadership into disarray. It would be a huge boon to China, to authoritarian leaders throughout the world. It's almost unimaginable that any any lawmaker in this country would think that this was okay to default on our debt. And yet, House Republicans seem intent upon doing so. Why? To score points about almost minimal issues, such as whether to raise the Social Security age or not. These things are worth negotiating, but not to extract ransom in terms of what would actually kill us.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, we have to. There's a balance here.
So it's very sunny day, nice weather.
Yes.
As for the DC weather.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll wait for next Tuesday when President Biden makes his announcement to rerun for elections.
Right.
In 2024. Still 17 months away from the elections, right?
Is that crazy? It's just around the corner. And
After 4 years of his president cycle, last 18 months is going to be spent on his re-election campaign.
Right. This is
But still, America
Yeah.
runs and thrives.
Right. I mean, can you imagine if you're a House member when you only get a 2-year term and you get elected and then you have to run again?
Right.
I mean, you never don't have to run if you're a House member. And that's why you're seeing House members message to where they don't even care about defaulting on the debt because they're messaging to their base. That's what's happening. And that's the weakness with democracy.
With this, we'll take a break. Hopefully, we should be back here on Tuesday again to describe to them the points that the President Biden is going to make on Tuesday with the re-election campaign.
Exactly.
And then again on Friday.
Right.
Thank you so much. If you like it, please press the bell icon. Follow us.
Press the like button, and also over here, right here under Lalit, look for our latest Friday Roundup. And over here on this side, look for what YouTube says that you should watch next. See you on Tuesday.
Looks like you're promoting YouTube as well.
I am. I'm trying to.
Thank you.
You bet.
Good.
Bye-bye.